Hello everyone and welcome to the back half of round number 2 at the 2020 Idlewild Open presented by Dynamic Disc. Terry Miller alongside Matt Graham. And Matt, we've got a great card for you. This chase card is doing just that. They're trying to chase down the leaders that we're seeing as they're trying to move into the championship round on Sunday. And looking forward to more of this. We just saw a little frustration on hole number 9, not quite the star frame that you'd maybe expect to see on that short hole, but let's see what these guys can do on the back as we move over to hole number 10. 368 feet and the second most difficult hole on the course.
Terry, I saw a deer run across this fairway about halfway up today.
Well, I think most of these guys would trade in the deer for a birdie if they could, because this comes in averaging 3.29. So again, the second most difficult hole on the course. You're throwing uphill. It's at least 400 feet effectively. And that was, I mean, just to be fair, that was a complete yank by the Canadian Thomas Gilbert.
And what's incredible about that is he ended up more than halfway down the fairway. So the trees were showing him a little love.
They certainly were. And there's Kyle Klein of Michigan putting it right up the middle. A little bit low, but didn't hit a single tree. And that's a small victory in itself here.
These athletes are throwing just about as hard as they can without losing the accuracy. And when you find their accuracy starting to decline, they're probably trying to throw a little too hard.
Andrew goes deep of the pin. He'll be looking back downhill, and that's Thomas. And things can get a little squirrely up there, but that sits down for him.
That is a very good bid by Zach. And for that matter, Kyle as well. These are two great bids on the basket.
There's the par put in there by Andrew Marwede. I'm going to spoil things a little and just tell you guys, there were only 3 players in the entire 132-person field. Oh, gosh, what are you doing, Kyle? Come on. Just 3 players with the birdies, and they're worth mentioning. Trevin Crowe, Corey Ellis, and Kevin Jones, the only 3 people to birdie this hole today.
Yeah, we saw it in round 1 on the feature card that we got to cover, but it's very rare. It's just such a hard hole because of the uphill, the tight fairway, and the distance.
Well, this is the shortest hole on the course, 242 feet. You're playing through this tunnel, and then you do have the elevated basket to deal with that's already perched up on this raised green, so to speak. And this used to be kind of the ace run hole from the short tee. They pushed it back a couple years ago to this longer tee, and Gilbert...
He called it out of his hand, probably about 50 feet out. Someone said ace it. They just knew it was on its way.
And that's a really good position to be in, too. Just a little bit short of the pin, looking uphill.
Anytime you can hit that wall with that elevated basket on there, you're probably going to have yourself looking at a birdie unless you get the unfortunate roll away. And in this situation, Kyle hit a tree that put him over into the previous fairway putting area that he was just at, where his frustration was taken out from missing that putt. It's like he has to reface his demons to get out.
And demons of hole 10.
Yeah.
So a little struggle there by Kyle, and Thomas Gilbert is in for the birdie. Andrew's actually a little closer than that, also looking for a birdie.
Not only do you have the elevated basket itself, but you also have this elevated basket sitting up on an elevated platform. It makes putts inside of even the 20-foot area just a little bit harder. And
Kyle manages to still walk away with the par. unfortunately, that's going to lose a stroke to the rest of the group as we move over to hole number 12, the third most difficult, 644 feet. You need to get at least to this corner. Right here would be great. And then you're still going to have to throw a very accurate shot that's going to finish down and to the left. We may see a little creativity for forehand rollers from time to time, or a backhand skip shot. That's about the only way you're going to get all the way down to that green when you're throwing what hopefully is just your second shot.
You're not wrong. There is a bunch of creativity on this hole because you can go forehand or backhand off of this tee and actually end with a good result. That ended up actually better than what it looked like it was going to be. I thought that was going to push a little longer there, but to check up into the grass, as you mentioned, gives you the opportunity to maybe throw a roller. You might have a good backhand line, but in this case, that right there, I don't want to call it perfection because I think you could be a little further down, but as far as a professional goes, that's a very, very good spot to be.
Yeah, as we pan over and look at where the basket is, Kyle just not catching a break. We'll see if he's got a line. Here's the...
Wow. Did that go through that V-tree? It looked like it did. And he was somehow able to get this roller out to push itself down the fairway, which on a hole of this length, getting down the fairway at almost any cost is worth it.
Yeah, it looked like that one just came out of his hand a little too straight up and down, so when it hit, it turned on him a little quicker than he wanted it to. But that's a little short for Marwede's approach. And someone with a backhand the way Melton does, it just looked like he threw it too low. There's no skipping in that long grass. Not sure that's quite the long grass punisher that we have from hole 16. Whatever we called that yesterday.
We were talking about getting tickled by the long grass.
Yeah, the long grass tickler.
But you see again the roller that was just approaching there. And look at the accuracy on that jump putt just to make sure that he checks up and doesn't go long.
Anytime you can hit the DGPT pull koozies, trademarked, you know you're doing something right. And that didn't go too far, but if there's a place where a basket side putt has the chance to get up and roll and cost you another stroke or two, this is definitely that spot. So fortunate it's that for him.
This is the second time that Thomas has put down a roller in this round that allowed him to get the birdie. He's feeling very confident with that roller, and it was even impressing Zach. He said, "What a birdie." He was impressed.
Just setting it down. All right, we move over to hole 13, very short walk before we go over to this one. 472 feet, a par 4, 10th most difficult. You need to get around this bend ideally. Maybe you're coming in with a little bit of heat and you're maybe even pushing all the way to here. And at that point, your approach is a little easier, but there's still a dangerous green. Kyle, during round number 1, threw one in from more than 110 feet.
I watched people do that, and I was like, how do you do that?
and Thomas, going with his own experiment. He said,
Almost keeping things lighthearted, though, which is awesome for this group to be because it just enables your mental game to be in a place that's going to let your game shine.
and that is beautiful as it's actually maybe a little too much.
Wow, the redirect just put him out there in such a way that he's going to have a fairly easy opportunity to get the birdie when that could have resulted in maybe out of bounds, but at the very least a tough lie in the rough.
Well, it looks like Kyle could maybe use a break at this point. Not much has gone right for him over these last few holes, and we'll see if he can turn things around. And just a little gentle approach there by Melton in the forehand.
So without being risk long, he felt very comfortable going for this, giving himself the opportunity to get the eagle. As you mentioned, he's already done.
Yeah, in fact, he was just maybe a few feet longer than that for the putt that he had during the opening round. Marwede next to the pin. And that sits down, and that'll work just fine for Thomas.
These putting green area, trying to be cool.
Zach doing some jumping jacks over there.
These putting green areas are so unique. They offer such an opportunity for you to just feel like you're in somewhere special, just getting out your putts, hopefully showing off for the cameras.
Yeah, it is beautiful here. This is ranked as one of the best courses in the country. Normally a 24-hole layout, but just 18 when we come here for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, as Zach gives that one a slam dunk. And we move over to hole number 14. They actually walk all the way up the hill to turn around and throw basically right back down it. Many of you said this is your favorite hole on the back nine, 556 feet. You're trying to get down at least to this area if you somehow filter through everything. And then you got to cross over onto the Peninsula Green, that little ditch right behind the basket. That is not out of bounds, but short of the basket can be, or is, if you find it. Not can be, but is.
The appearance here off the tee box is that it's fairly level, and it almost looks as if it plays uphill a little bit, but in actuality, you throw that just level over this ground, it's continuing to slope downhill towards the basket.
And
what a smash of a forehand.
And whoa!
Oh man, there's no way he knows that happened. He's just hoping to push as far as he can, and well, he did. He got the lucky roll.
If he was old enough, I'd make a Limp Bizkit keep rolling reference there, but I don't think Kyle would get that one. Oh, and that also had a pretty good move, but even though it hit a tree and then kicked, it looks like he's still got an alley to the basket, so not too bad. And this should set up well for a lefty. We'll see if he can keep it clean. Okay, well, maybe not Zach.
I overhear the competitors talking, and they say one of the things on this course is that every single shot is challenged. It makes it so you have to keep your mental game strong. And the result that Zach just got there was to play down a back walkway to almost the tee pad for the next hole. It's almost as if that's never been done before, and nobody practices putts from over in that area.
Yeah, he is actually just a few inches off of the tee for the next hole, hole 15. And Marwede's trying to push the forehand up there, and he's successful with it.
This was Kyle's drive. Get that. He just hit the basket for what would have been a phenomenal eagle. That is a true gift, an easy drop-in birdie for Kyle, and another basket shot. They're really honing in their putting.
That one's just off the mark. A par here for Thomas, and spoiler alert, the 9th most difficult hole does not give up any eagles here during round number 2. As you said, a couple of really close calls, but 0 eagles given up. And actually in round number 1, there were also 0 eagles given up, which is somewhat surprising. I think we're going to see at least 1 eagle in the field, besides Eagle McMahon, on the final day.
That bid by Kyle, no doubt, had to be the best bid for the eagle in round number 2.
And we take a look at hole number 15, 487 feet, missing that tree. Somehow maybe piping the tunnel, missing both of these trees. If you throw a perfect shot, you land here at best, and then you still have an Anheuser for the righty backhand, some work to do. Very challenging hole. In fact, the 5th most difficult.
Just think of it this way. If it's tough for a drone to fly the hole, how can an uncontrolled disc, well, I guess that's what we're trying to do, is control the discs. And in that case there, Kyle got it out a little too early in hitting that first tree.
That's unofficially deemed the Kevin Jones tree, and as we pan over and take a look, that's really a great shot for Marwede. Anybody would be happy to land right there. And backing up on Kyle, backing up on Kyle's shot just briefly, it would have been one thing if it would just stopped once it hit the ground. The problem is it got up and rolled another 20 feet away and off of the fairway. So now he's got this to deal with.
I've mentioned it already probably a few times, but the elevation is truly a significant part of what makes these holes difficult.
And Thomas with a
Wow.
kind of a standstill backhand roller.
Out of the thick rough, somehow, I think that is a true gift to even be able to get to where he got.
Good shot.
And the same with Kyle's kick there. In this situation, they are getting some good love on this fairway.
Yeah, he didn't clearly was hoping to remain clean from that tree, but at least it stopped right where it did. And Marwede's, just trying to mind his own business and walk away with a birdie here.
What a great upshot, puring the gap that leads to the basket.
So another.
Thomas is doing a lot of holding his head on this hole.
He's very animated, and we don't mean to, of course, poke any fun at him, but very animated as we watch his shot results.
It truly makes it enjoyable to watch him perform because he is animated. I think it shows the passion on these players, how they perform, and what they can do.
And Kyle just sneaks that one in for bogey. Thomas is trying to get everybody on the course involved after his previous shot. And well done there by Zach Melton to take the birdie. 20% of the field carding birdies here. 34% of the field had bogeys or worse. But this card with a pair of birdies, very impressive. So a pair of birdies, a bogey, and a double, I think is what we saw there. We move over to hole number 16, of course, the longest hole on the course, 969 feet. The grass off to the right and left, the long grass there, is all considered out of bounds, so you need to keep it in the short grass. And then as you approach the pin, that little moat there in front of the basket also is out of bounds.
It's taking most players 5 shots to get in the basket. But we are working with the chase card here, which in a lot of ways is demonstrating that they are performing at a higher ability currently than the rest of the field. So we should expect to see under par for most of the players on this card.
And Melton finding the short grass. No problems there. Marwede did go just deep and out of bounds. And Kyle's got to be careful just because I know he has so much power here. Maybe a little bit of frustration built up too, that he doesn't do anything too aggressive, but he finds the short grass.
Yeah, that was a great drive. I have to believe that Kyle at this age, performing at the level he is, he wants to show off a little bit, but he demonstrates that he's able to do it on this big stage. And the shot that Thomas just put down pushed him way down the fairway. It's going to make it much easier for him to shoot under par.
And it seemed like there was a little misstep, literally and figuratively there by Zach Melton as he left that one hang up and it went out of bounds. Marwede trying to make up after the OB shot. Then he gets a little bit of a roll here. Well, you can't really complain about that. Extra 40 or 50 feet on a roll.
I was thinking the same thing. Take it when you can get it. The funny part is he doesn't know that he got that. He just thinks he got through that extra 40 feet.
And this stands up for Kyle. Now, I know I mentioned OB is short of the basket in the moat area, but also if you go too far past it, you could be considered out of bounds there as well. So Kyle's put himself a good 70 feet short of the pin. He's going to have a long look at eagle.
He's asking for it to flip up because with that backhand play on that straight throw, he needs it to tilt just enough to get him towards the basket. But the result of his throw there is actually, it's going to give him a bid at the eagle.
Whoa.
And that one, oh, not a bad play. Again, there's a backstop. He hits off of the OB area and kicks onto the green, keeping him in bounds.
Good effort by Kyle. Those aren't going to go in every time, but the fact that you had a bid really demonstrates your abilities. All right, Thomas going for the 3 here and securing that with a solid putt. The fist pump shows that he's feeling it and he's ready to go on to hole 17 and then finish out with 18. Hopefully being able to remain on this chase card going into round 3.
Yeah, keeping the momentum going. There were 6 eagles. I'm not going to tell you who had them, but we saw one in Thomas Gilbert. 6 eagles here on hole 16 during round number 2. And you see the AstroTurf green. They said that the water, when the storms are rolling in the spring season, you could find some of these holes almost completely underwater. So rather than dealing with the erosion and whatnot, that's why they've gone with the AstroTurf type greens, the carpeted greens. And we move over to hole 17. And yes, this is as daunting and as challenging as it looks during the drone flyover. 418 feet onto this peninsula green with OB surrounding it everywhere and a bridge that comes into play. This has really everything. The OB, the water, the tight gaps, the distance. You need a little bit of luck and a lot of skill.
Yeah, and as a disc golfer, professional or not, you step up and you think the scenery is amazing, but that quickly leaves your mind as you realize I have to throw a plastic disc down this fairway and not land it in any of these creek beds. Just like that. Unfortunately, when you do that, the result is probably going to be out of bounds, but it's very hard to get a clean line and land it somewhere safe.
Zach looking for a little bit of help. He gets the green flag. This is the 14th most difficult. It is a par 4, and some of the pars have fluctuated throughout the years, and this does average 3.91 as he skips it up onto the green.
Usually if you're skipping towards the green, you're not going to land on it. That was a true gift. And Tom is deciding, because of his position, the only real option to give himself a look at the birdie was to try to throw that spike hyzer over the trees. And honestly, the result there was fantastic.
Oh, and another tree that's going to keep him inbounds this time. Kyle with a forehand from the coming on that left side, and that's exactly what we were just talking about. If you're skipping and hitting on that peninsula green, there's a good chance you'll go up and over.
Oh, no. Sit.
Tom is saying that was an easy putt.
Now, I can't say for sure, obviously, why Zach missed, but there is another hole that actually plays right alongside that and some of the players were hitting the trees nearby, and I know there was a few times he checked up and reset. But to miss that putt, no matter why, you're going to be frustrated with yourself.
Kyle's still able to walk away with the par. And we don't want you guys walking away too far. We're going to, of course, have Chase Card final round action coming to you guys from here at the Idlewild Open. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Of course, Dynamic Disc, the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Natty Disc Golf Shop. And we're going to move over to hole 18. And this actually comes after a long walk from 17's green. Then you have to play all the way down this tunnel through this very narrow alleyway, and it finally opens up for the last 200 and some feet of the hole, 650 feet overall. And how fitting, the final hole of the round and what will be of the tournament is also the most difficult relative to par.
So it's a par 4, and it makes sense. You get the birdie, it's a 3. But to get this birdie, you have to throw 2 absolutely perfect shots. And Kyle's demonstrating here one of those perfect shots. So he's set himself up for success on this hole 18.
Yeah, it looks like he went with a mid just to play for the control there off of the tee. And then even as it came in, it kind of just gently shifted down even more into the middle of the fairway for him.
Zach's hoping that this flips up, and it did a little bit, but the result still left him just a little bit far on the right, where he's going to have a tough time making it out of the gap into the open fairway. But anytime your disc comes to rest in the center of this fairway, you're thankful for that opportunity. And Marwede here has this tree that he has to contend with, and it appears as if it caused him to kind of stab at it instead of getting his normal flight out of there and catching the corner.
Yeah, certainly not a normal run-up as Zach lunges forward, and that one pops out for him.
And let's see, his first shot in the middle of the fairway set him up for this opportunity to throw this awesome second shot just outside of circle 1. He's going to have a true attempt at birdie here.
Pretty incredible. Just 12% of the field able to get the birdie here as they close out the final hole on the round. And those cedar trees just really catch everything. They're like Velcro out there.
I've watched a handful of throws now on this hole, and it seems if any disc that is even near them, yes, just gets sucked right in and just held up. And there's another one. It does allow you to have the opportunity to hit your putt, but with the low ceiling and the slight uphill, it makes it tough to execute.
Thomas looking to close out, put himself on lead card.
On his knees.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say he needed that putt. This is Kyle. Oh, and a solid finish for the young guy. Beautiful birdie by Kyle, and we're going to start to close things out. So I want to thank you again, Matt. You and Steve Held out there hustling around, getting all the shots so that we could bring you guys this action. I want to thank the Pro Tour yet again, the Natty, along with our presenting sponsor in Dynamic Disc, also Zach Melton's primary sponsor. I think we have a neck gator model in Andrew Marwede. It was a pleasure watching these guys play, and we'll have that Chase Card coverage. Leave a like and a comment to be eligible to win something. I got free stuff to give away. Might as well go to you guys. We'll see you next round.
Marwede.